In this particular video, I am going to discuss in details what actually led to that human trafficking called slave trade and how the Europeans found their way into Africa. Before the 1300, there wasn't maritime technology. There were little, if at all, ways of, you know, knowing what is happening across the globe. There were boats, there were small ships, but they were not efficiently equipped, to travel long distances, withstand the tidal waves of oceans. But by the 15th century, the Europeans started building stronger ships that could withstand the tidal waves and, of course, travel farther. So, with these improved ships, the Europeans were beginning to, experiment and they were succeeding in crossing the Atlantic. And with this exploration, they came in contact with the Americas, traveled farther, and also came in contact with those living along the coast of Africa. These were people they had never met before. This disenclavement brought an end to the isolation of some societies like the African societies and, of course, increased intersocietal interactions. At this point, everything was still normal, and the discovered societies were excited about the new friendship without knowing that Delilah came with scissors. They didn't know that Delilah Jagoba Ebia, the Europeans, were looking for new and profitable commercial opportunities outside Europe. Not only that, the Europeans were seeing the Muslim Ottoman Empire from the Middle East as a very big threat. Ottoman Empire is the Turkish Empire. It was established in the 13th century, and by 1354 thereabout, this empire was gaining grounds massively in Europe. And you know how the Muslims behave. With every province they conquer, they will establish an autonomy there with an emir. At that time, Constantinople, the modern day Istanbul, was their capital city. And they were controlling the lands around the Mediterranean Sea. The simple explanation to this is that Turkey in Europe is the connection the Middle East countries have with Europe. Geographically, Turkey is located between southeastern Europe and West Asia. The Middle Eastern Islamic traders, were rich in gold and luxury spices and crystals, which they trade in Europe through Turkey. So the Iberian set of Europeans were furiously looking for other alternatives to these luxury goods instead of becoming Islamized by those, Goddam people that they are seen as threats. The Iberians were from different countries in Europe: Spain, Italy, France, Netherlands, Denmark. They championed the exploration of the Atlantic, and amongst them was an Italian man known as Christopher Columbus, who taught the group the triangular trade by barter because they had exchange problems while they were touring the continents. In my next video, you will hear how these European colonizers gradually invaded Africa.